and today I'm going to show you how to make the egg souffles. So we do these egg souffles for a lot of breakfast catering events. They're very popular and they're a little time consuming because we make them in a standard muffin liner or standard muffin pan, and you have to make like sometimes 200-300 of them, and it gets very time consuming. So the first thing you're going to want to do is whoever you're assigned to work with, it's important that you're multitasking. Because I'm only making a couple, like I'm only making 6, and you're going to be making lots. They may be calling for 96 eggs. So you need to move very, very fast. There's 2 things that you need to do here. You need to prep a pan, and then you need to make the filling, okay? So I'm going to start with showing you how to prep the pan, because this should be done first, so as soon as your filling's done, it's not sitting. It can just be scooped in. So what you're going to do is you're going to melt a little bit of butter. And this is going to vary depending on how many you're making. I would start with melting about a stick, and then you're just going to spread it into the muffin pan. This is going to do 2 things. It's A, it's going to prevent it from sticking, and B, it's going to add the flavor to the souffles. If you've never had a souffle, the bottom is like bread, and then you have your egg, light and fluffy egg, and it's supposed to be extremely rich and buttery. Okay, they're very high in fat. So I've already done that, you can see it. And then what you're gonna do is we buy pre-made croissant dough just to save on time. We could make it, it's just very time consuming, as you know from doing the chocolate croissants. So what you're gonna do is, and these don't always come out perfectly, is this comes out as a triangle, okay? And sometimes it doesn't, and if it's ruined, it's okay, all right? So what you're gonna do is you take one triangle, okay, and kind of form it into there and press, okay? Now, you wanna leave a little overhang, all right? Because when you make your egg mixture, you're gonna put your egg mixture in, and then your top kind of sits on it like so, all right? So it's okay that you have that overhang, all right? So let's do another one. And again, if it starts kind of falling, not very clean edges, that's totally fine. It's no big deal. I'm actually going to take some of that apart because it seems a little thick. All right, so just like so. And then have some extra. That. And then I have all these little extra pieces. You can kind of just press it in. There's really, when it all bakes, it all tastes the same. So I want them all to look as consistent as possible, but everyone loves these. So, all right, so your pan is ready. All right. So the next step you're going to do is you are going to you always start with a little bit of onion and red pepper, and we're going to saute this. This adds flavor, and it's important that it's really, really small when you cut it. All right, so I'll be right back because I forgot to grab a little. All right, so what I did was I melted a little bit of butter in there, and I used a 1/4 teaspoon, give or take. You are probably going to use a little bit more because you're going to be making a lot more of this. So I'm going to put my onion and my red pepper in there. And I'm just going to stir it around. And you're just going to cook this until it's slightly brown, translucent. Okay? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare my egg mixture. Again, you're going to be doing this in much larger quantities, but in my bowl I have combined my eggs, 2 tablespoons of milk, all right? Any kind of milk, it's just to incorporate, to make the eggs light and fluffy. Then I'm also putting in 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. That's going to add flavor. Also some sour cream, 2 more tablespoons. That adds richness. And then I'm going to incorporate a cheese mixture of cheddar cheese, Monterey Jack cheese, and Parmesan. So we're having a lot of flavors go on in there. So it's really, really, really yummy and rich. And you're just going to mix this together until it's all the yolks break and come together. Okay, now you're going to be making a huge batch of this, so you might want to use the large kitchen mixer, just to get that all evenly mixed together. All right, so let's check on our vegetables. And those are just about ready. So I'm just going to turn off my heat so I can finish showing you this. You want to make sure the biggest part is that the sour cream is mixed in. Alright? Now there's a couple variations of flavors that we can do of these souffles. The one I'm making for this demo is just the basic egg and cheese. So all of the recipes start off with the onion and red pepper, and then they all have all the cheeses, etc. However, some people like bacon. So if you were going to add bacon to this, you would add the regular, if it was going to make 16, you would add 3/4 cup of these bacon bits. And the reason why we use bacon bits is because it cooks quicker and it's already small. So it's just a fast, quick thing that we can go to and add. It adds good flavor, and then it has the bacon evenly distributed through all the souffles. Okay. Some people are vegetarians, or they shouldn't be eating eggs then, but some people don't want bacon. So then we have spinach. And if you were going to use spinach, you would just replace the amount of bacon with 3/4 cup of the spinach, and then you would saute it the same way with the vegetables. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is we are going to lightly, and not even for that, I don't have a lot of eggs, you'll have a lot more eggs, and you'll do this in like a stock pot. You're going to incorporate this in to your pan, and you are going to just start cooking your eggs until they coagulate. And what that means is the heat will just make them kind of chunk together. And the reason why you want to do that is because when you put them in the pan, in your croissant rolls, you want them to have a little substance so the top will hold on to it and they don't sink in. So if I added it right now, it's a very thick mixture, but it's not thick enough. So we want to start just cooking it a little bit to make sure that it's cooked till wet, so it has some substance. So we'll be right back. Alright, so we're back, and you can see that the eggs are still runny, but they have some chunks in them. Okay, so they're coagulated. And what's nice, I just call this mixture like the chunky egg mixture. And you're going to bake this in the oven, so if you're looking like, ew, that looks gross, it's like it's going to all bake and come together as a nice firm egg. So what you're going to want to do is you want a consistent amount of your egg mixture into each one. And I'm just going to use a 1/4 cup. I find that that works really well. And you're just going to fill it up until the top, like so. If you're a little under, that's okay. You don't want them heaping, because the egg will rise a little bit, as well as the croissant. Like so. Okay. Now, if you have extra egg mixture, just make another pan. Alright, so what you're going to do now is you're going to take those hanging off pieces, those edges, and kind of just put them all together like a little pillow. And if, as you notice, it's like holding, it's not sinking. If we didn't cook those eggs slightly, it would be sinking all together. Okay. Just like so. And this is actually a modified version if you've ever had the souffles at Panera. So we kind of made this recipe based off that dish. Alright? So the next thing you're going to do is we want these to look really professional, and we're going to add another dimension of flavor. In here I've combined 1 egg with a little bit of milk and a little bit of water. And this just helps make it shiny, adding the protein to the top. It's going to add color. It's also going to help adhere another kind of cheese, Asiago. I like to call it the stinky cheese, but it tastes amazing, and it adds really good dimension of flavor to these souffles. So here's my Asiago already shredded. You'll have to shred yours. And you're just going to sprinkle just a little bit. You don't want to overwhelm it. And that the egg also helps adhere the cheese to the souffle. Okay? Now you're going to cook these in the oven at 350 just until light golden brown. They take about 20 to 25 minutes, give or take, how many you're making, etc. So keep an eye on them. Alright, thank you. So here are our finished egg souffles. And you can see that they're nice and light golden brown, and they look nice and professional. So now what you're going to do is you got to get them out of the pan. And the best way to do this is to kind of just loosen them up, and they should kind of separate from the side. Don't take them completely out yet with your hand. I'm going to show you why. It's a much easier way to do this. Okay, just like so. And you gotta move quickly when you do it. Alright, so now we're just gonna kind of dump them out. Okay? And then we're actually gonna serve these in liners to make them look nice and pretty. So it's almost like a breakfast muffin, what it will look like. Now, at a catering event, we serve these out of a chafing dish because it's important that we maintain the hot temperature or else they just don't taste good, well, and they're not safe to eat. So, there you go. Enjoy.